everybody, it's Sherry with The Legend Actually, and welcome back. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new, welcome for the first time. Over here, we do reality TV recaps. We also do pop culture segments, and we are getting into doing some really good, riveting, and interesting and engaging interviews. We have our first one getting ready to drop soon. You will not want to miss it. If you have not seen the documentary that's currently streaming on Prime Video, Silver Dollar Road, you need to do yourself a favor and go watch it. It is a cautionary tale of what happens to families when there is no living will and there's heirs property. And this is a family that is native to Carteret County, North Carolina. And their story is just, it'll make you mad, but it'll also inspire you. And we have one of those family members that I'm going to be interviewing. And so stay tuned for more information on that. But as you know, those of you that are my current actualizers that subscribe, you know what Monday is. Monday is Bravo Mondays. And today I'm going to be recapping Summer House Martha's Vineyard. Last night was a really good episode. There's lots to talk about. We're going to also be recapping Real Housewives of New Jersey, but that will be on tomorrow when we're going to drop that. I tried last week to do both, kind of made for a very long video. So we're going to just take our time. Today we're going to do Martha's Vineyard, and tomorrow we will have Real Housewives of New Jersey waiting for you. Both were really good episodes last night. So let's get into it, guys. Lots to talk about. We open up. They're still at the party, or the tail end of the party, that Nick threw in honor of his deceased line brother. And just as an ode to him, his number 5, his just honoring his brother. And I thought it was really nice. There was elements of, like we said, the Black Greek, the explanation, there's HBCU, sisters and brothers in the house. Really a good time, but the party's starting to wind down. And honey, as we know, when things left last week, Bria was some kind of mad with her boyfriend Simon for coming out in that flamingo suit. Ciao. So they come back to this week, and she's still upset with him over the flamingo suit. She basically tells him pack his stuff. They're done. She's finished with him, and he's kind of, I won't say he's not taking her seriously, but one thing, honey, Simon is wasted. Simon had way too much to drink, and so he's not really taking her seriously. And he's kind of saying, like, you're seriously going to break up? We're done over a flamingo suit. Which, I think at that point, she wasn't going to get much more out of the man. And so it goes over to also Noelle, who's having a little wardrobe malfunction. She was working through some issues with her underwear underneath that dress. And then you see Simon saunter back down. He talks to Alex about how Bria's mad at him about the flamingo suit. And, Alex is like, well, you were having fun. And so at this point, we now see Summer in the room with Jasmine, and she has a friend called Chloe Love. And, they're talking about her decision to be sober. And, because of course, Jasmine's sober too, being pregnant. And she said her decision to be sober, of course, was to deal with her friendships that, that matter to her, the ones that she really wants to nurture and repair. And she wants to do it in a healthy way and in a sober way. And she's also feeling some guilt for not being there for her Nana's surgery, which apparently is going to be happening while, as this episode is airing. And she's also trying to work on her relationships with her mother, because as you know, she was estranged from her mother. Her Nana actually ended up adopting her and caring for her. Her mother had substance abuse issues and could not. And then she said that basically with all that, all that she's been dealing with, all that's been on her mental, and, maybe masking it with alcohol and now being sober and really feeling it, she was just simply exhausted. And Jasmine just tells her she really needs to do what she needs to do for herself. Do what's best for her, in the long run. So there's that. Child, then the scene goes over to Amir and Bria. He's coming in trying to, I guess, give some advice, little couples advice. And he basically is another one, honey, who is feeling the effects of the alcohol. Our boy Amir is turned. Yes, he is lit. But basically, he sits down and he's talking with Bria. And he's basically asking her, you know, what's wrong. And she's telling him that she's just upset. She starts to cry. And, you know, he shares with Bria, you know, that I hope you don't think like that me and Natalie don't argue. And no, sir, we are certain that you do. But he basically says that that they do argue. And at about this time, Simon comes in. And he's trying to get them, you know, to talk about their issues. And he was like, you know, when Simon comes in and sits down, he's like, you know, I'm trying to have a man-to-man conversation with the woman. And Simon's like, yeah, trying to have a man-to-man conversation with a woman. And he was like, I'm trying to have a man-to-man conversation in front of a woman. He tries to correct himself. Then it goes over to confessional and you see Amir saying, you know, and they've got like the truth booth over his head. And he's like, I know what you guys are thinking. You know, you're thinking I'm drunk. Yeah, that's what we're thinking. Because that's what you are, sir. Yeah. So basically, then he basically tells Simon, you know, this is your woman. You know, you guys are supposed to communicate. She tells you that she didn't want you to wear the flamingo suit. You're not supposed to wear it. You know, all this, honey. He's doing his best to help. Truth be told, honey, he's just a little too turnt to really, really help them with much of anything. And so then basically it pans over to Alex. He's coming in, walks in the room where Jasmine, Summer, and her friends are. He's obviously just had a little trip from the bathroom. I don't know what this group of friends are so obsessed with bathroom habits and using the bathroom and it being shown. But, I mean, that's life, right? So, apparently he'd had his moment. He'd come out rubbing his stomach. I'm sure he felt better. I don't know. So, basically, back then, Amir and Natalie are doing, they go over to Amir and Natalie. They're arguing over who needs to take a shower, child. Then Bria calls her mom. She's still not happy, and she's letting her mom know, look, I'm done with Simon, Mom. I'm going to take his credit card. No, she was clear. She wasn't going to pay, but she was going to get his credit card, and she was going to send him to a hotel and then fly him right on back to Germany. And her mother's name is Ty, was telling her that probably wasn't the best idea. I mean, he did fly all the way over there from Germany, Bria. Why don't you sleep on it? You know what I mean? That poor baby. So then we go to them waking up the next morning, and you see Noelle and Preston and Donald wake up to a pretty trashed house. And then Noelle goes and finds Shanice, and they tell Nick that he had had a great party, that they enjoyed it, but Shanice had gotten sick. And he was like, oh, you got sick? She was like, yeah, I actually threw up in the trash can. And they point to the trash can being right there in the room. Ew. I mean, so apparently, child, they did the thing. They partied down. And then you realize, you know, why Amir was so turned, because then they go to Preston and Amir, who decided to take a shot, you know, a shot-taking contest. Preston makes sure Amir knows that he can really hold his liquor. And Amir was up for the challenge. But was he? No, baby. You can't hang with Preston, sir. So I hope this serves as a lesson. Do not enter in another shot contest. Because that poor baby, the whole episode Amir pretty much struggled. So, yeah. So Nick and Alex hear Preston and Donald they're in there kind of straightening up, and they're laughing. They were really a good time together. I like them together. And they said, they hear them laughing. Who's that? And they were like, Donald, he's got to be the happiest person we've ever met. And they were like, we've never seen him upset. So that was cute. And then we see Summer. She's on the phone with her Nana, and she's checking in with her on her surgery. So, y'all, then the next thing, honey, is the catalyst to what we're all here for, honey. The main point of the episode, which I'm going to call it Handsy Gate. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to call this video, Handsy Gate. That's what it all boils down to. So, child, Bria and Noelle, they head outside because they want to do their little girl talk, reassessing the night before and just catching up. So they're headed outside to the hammock. Natalie is in tow, shortly behind them. And even the guys make the comment that they're looking out the window and like, there's Bria and Noelle going out to have a talk, and here comes Natalie, joining them in the mix. Shortly after that, Shanice also joins them. And so Bria tells them that, well, first off, they ask her what went down last night. So she starts telling the girls about, honey, I don't know, we should name it Handsy Gate or Flamingo Gate, because the both of them were wearing me out this whole episode. But anyway, she tells the girls about last night. She says how she was mad at Simon and how she felt like, he was disrespectful to her and her friends, and that when it's one of his events, that he's a completely different person. And I could respect that. I mean, I don't know if it was lack of communication or what, or just overindulgence, because everybody was like really drinking a lot. He did seem like he was out of his mind, honey. So there's that. That does not excuse when someone tells you that this is a serious event. It's in memory of Nick's line brother, his fraternity brother, and it's a black tie event. You don't want to come out there cutting up like that, but child. So, she brings up the flamingo outfit, and then she says that, why is it when it's something that's important to her, when she's expected to act like she has sense, that he wants to act like a clown. I mean, and I'm going to give Bria, Bria gets a bad rap because everybody thinks Bria's bratty and, a bit much and whiny. And there's that. She can be. But she did make a point, something like that. And it could have been a communication thing. But, he's a reflection on her, is what she did say to the girls. It was embarrassing in front of her peers, particularly on a night that was supposed to be, for a somber occasion, and yet also more of a sophisticated feel. Again, like she said, it was a black tie event. Everybody was dressed because, honey, that's one thing Nick does and does well. Nick can put together an outfit. So he is a very dapper dresser. I could see his events being black tie and very top tier. And so I get it. And she was embarrassed. And so, Bria claims that when it is time for his events, she shows up, and she shows up with respect. Later, that's rebutted when her and Simon have their talk, but we'll get there. She said that basically when he found out that he could only stay for 3 days, that's when he really started to kind of wild out. She said that's when the costume came out. He starts chugging the wine, and, So she basically said, she really wanted to keep the problems they had, away from their friends. And she just doesn't want to cause problems with her friends. She doesn't want him and her to cause problems with her friends. She doesn't want him to embarrass her or just make things, weird by, his behavior being so a little too over the top, I don't know if it's a cultural thing, child. I don't know. Again, like it was an alcohol thing, but certainly moving forward, if they were to continue, they surely, and she does say, they're going to have to put some boundaries in place, but that comes later. I'm skipping ahead. But, so then, at this point, she was saying she doesn't even know if she wants to bring him back on, any future vacations, i.e. future seasons of Martha Vineyard. And Noelle asked if she still wants to be in a relationship with Simon, and she says she just wants to make sure that the relationship that he wants, that this was the type of relationship basically that he wants. And that's when she said that it comes down to the fact that they're just going to have to set some boundaries. And that, on both sides, that they both are going to have to set boundaries. And I'm with her on that one, definitely. So, and then we go over to Jasmine, and she's outside, and she yells up to Summer. And she basically, asks her if she's going to go biking. So apparently they do an annual bike trip where they take their bikes around Martha's Vineyard and ride to the lighthouse. Beautiful scenery. I have never been, but it is certainly now on my bucket list. I think I said that last week or one of the episodes before, but it is absolutely beautiful watching them when we get to the scene of them riding. Just, so pretty, so quaint. Absolutely stunning. Definitely on Sherry's bucket list. So they're going to do another bike trip. But Jasmine talks about her pregnancy, how, she's been tired and, she'd rather be in the bed eating snacks. But she was not going to miss this bike ride. So Bria and Noelle, I'm sorry. The girls are still out on the hammock having girl talk. And so now they get into the whole Nick of it all. And before they do, Natalie's like, let me check on Amir, because honey, Amir is struggling. He is struggling from that night. That alcohol whipped his butt. He looks awful, poor baby. You can't keep over Preston, child. And as little as he is, trying to match. Preston's a bigger guy. Match drink for drink. That was kind of crazy. But anyway. So then they asked Shanice about how she was, because she also kind of turned in early. She had a little too much. And again, hence the whole throwing up in the trash can. And they let her know that Nick had come to check on her. And that he had brought her a ginger ale, which was sweet. It wasn't a bad thing. It was sweet. And then, they asked Shanice if she had gotten a chance to talk with Tasia. And she said no. And that they really haven't had any kind of a bond outside of her sleeping in her room. So, Shanice gave up her room so that Tasia and Nick could have privacy, because as you know, all the boys are in the bunk room. So there's that. But then of course Natalie puts her 2 cents in. Y'all, she's still on my nerves. I'm still not feeling Natalie, okay? But here she is interjecting in the girl talk. And she says, Tasia was in bed while Nick was still downstairs dancing with everybody, and like he was trying to get into something. It was his party, okay? I think these girls are reaching a little bit. I don't know about y'all, but I kind of felt bad for Nick in this episode. But anyway, child, yes, Tasia was upstairs, but Nick was the host of the party. So yeah, if he was dancing around trying to make sure the last few of his guests were still having a good time, so what? At any rate, then Bria pipes in and how she doesn't like to get in people's personal relationships. And then she proceeds to get in people's personal relationships. She dives right in there on Tasia and Nick. Right in there. So, okay, Bria. But she says she finds it strange how he switches up. How last summer that they didn't even know he had a girlfriend. And, Bria's like, I had to address her. Did you, Bria? Did you have to address her to let her know that her man wasn't claiming her or hadn't mentioned her? You didn't have to. But you did. And then Shanice asked how long they had been together. And Natalie says, from what she heard, it's been a minute. Now, meanwhile, Tasia's around looking for Natalie because she wanted to borrow something from her. And Noelle said in her retrospective moment that she'd like to know from Tasia's perspective, not knowing how her boyfriend acts pretty much when she's not there. And Bria says it's like her man is still being out there, being she almost said it, y'all. It was like, you know how that word just be like right there? She's about to call the man a hoe. She retracts. She's, no, not like a hoe, but how he's been out there. Or she took that back and she said how he's been touchy-feely with Summer and Jordan. Okay. And she says he's been flirtatious. And then they said, you know, he should just be honest about it. And Noelle says you can tell sometimes he wants to be wild. Y'all, these girls are really, really stretching. And then Noelle says in a confessional that there are 2 no-nos for her and her man when it comes to taking pictures with a girl. No arm being draped by a female's breast and no arm around each other. Child, in the shade of it all, next we go to the picture of Nick with Summer and Jordan, or I'm sorry, it was Summer and Noelle at the Freak Nick event, and he kind of did both. He had his arm around Summer, where it was just kind of going across there and arm around. I don't know, y'all. Again, even at that one, they had a lot to drink. Child, I don't know. So, of course, Miss Natalie, the bone carrier, offers to take this information to Tasia or bring it to her attention that the girls want to talk to her to let her know what's been going on in the house, I guess, when she's not there. And then Bria says she doesn't want to be the one to approach it, and neither does Noelle. But then Bria adds, you know, I really feel like if given a chance that, you know, he could get away with it, you know, he would do something with somebody. All right. That was the whole Hammock talk. So then we see Natalie tell Amir what the girls talked about, and she wants Tasia to know how Nick acts when he's not there. And Amir agrees that she should say something so that she's not blindsided. Okay, Amir. Now, again, we saw Tasia looking around. I think she might have wanted to borrow something from Natalie so that she could go on this bike ride, because Nick neglected to tell her about their big old bike ride, so she had nothing to wear. So they decided they're not going to do the bike ride. But, you know, they get dressed and they're both in red and they look great. And then Nick starts gushing about Tasia. And he says that his mom had said something that, you know, Nick, you're going to always find pretty, you know. But he said that Tasia was more than that. You know, he said how she was smart, kind, caring, and that she looked after him. And so that's why he wanted to make sure that she felt comfortable. And so at this point, poor Amir, before they get ready to head out for the bike event, he grabs a gallon of water and he's chugging it. Poor baby is trying to hydrate so he can feel like himself again, because he is still feeling rough. So everybody goes out to the event except for Bria and Simon and Preston and Donald. So Bria and Simon stay back so they can talk, as they should. And, you know, they're outside and Simon says, you know, he felt sad that she was so quick to want to end things. And, you know, Bria, she's like, cut it. You know, I don't want to hear that. She basically tells him he acted like a fool. And this was a serious event in honor of Nick's line brother. And again, it was a black tie event with people that were from his college. You got HBCU alums in the house, some of the creme de la creme, if you will. So bottom line, she was saying he didn't take the event seriously and she was embarrassed. And so she says, what if she had acted that way at one of his Watchmen events? watch room events. I apologize. And he was like, you have, or you've behaved badly. And she was like, what? You know, me? Shocker. Yeah, you, Bria, you. Yeah, you can react. Yeah, you react badly. He said that basically within 5 minutes of her being in the event, she basically said she didn't F with anybody, was in the car. That's very much on brand for Bria. Yeah, sounds about like something she would do. She said, well, he's put her in an unsafe environment, that, you know, she's been at the table with people that have said racist things to her, and she's talked about his family members, his extended cousins that have been racist towards her, that she's had to defend herself, and that guys in her past have come to bat for her, that he didn't. And she's like, you know, you act like you don't see it. And so at any rate, you know, she talks again about his extended cousins, telling her to go back where she came from. One called her saying that they didn't know Simon dated an indigenous woman. Just a lot of things that, you know, I could see certainly, you know, where she's coming from there. Simon really needed to have her back in those moments. He said, and there was a time at the club she talked about when someone even actually pushed her. And he said he did see it, you know, and she's like, no, you know, you didn't do anything. You didn't act like it. And so basically, you know, she was saying, you need to listen to me when, you know, I ask you not to do something, hence the flamingo suit. And when I'm telling you or warning you about someone coming at me with racial slurs. And basically she's like, yeah, like, listen, Linda. And so they make amends. Simon agrees that, you know, he's going to be more tuned in with that. He tells her that he loves her. And they both agree that they're going to work on it. And so that was that with them. So then we go, you know, back to the group. They're heading over to the area to get the bikes. Nick and Tasia are not riding bikes. They're going to go out for a little date and then meet the group later for brunch. So on that, Tasia and Nick are getting ready to head off for their date, and they are going to an area near the water, and she basically notices that she doesn't have any cell service. And he says, well, you know, we can get you on the Arrington cell phone plan. And child, I don't know about y'all, but did y'all notice she said about 3 times, my last name is Burrows. My last name is Burrows. My last name is Burrows. With a kind of smirk on her face. To me, that's the look of saying, boo. In order for me to be on the Arrington phone plan, which is Nick's last name, of course, what you're going to need to do, sir, is change my last name, because currently it's Burrows. Hint, hint. So then it goes to confessional with Nick. And he said that him and Tasia have been together for 2 years, actually. And the producer asked, you know, why haven't you popped the question yet? Child, he went on this long monologue about, you know, well, you know, every relationship, you want to see it progress to that and have the white picket fence. And then he goes into with the green grass. But honey, he's not cutting grass, child, because he's cut grass a lot in his life. And at some point, he wants to jump the broom. And oh, by the way, for those that don't know what jump the broom means, it means marriage. Dude, just tell us, are you going to marry the girl or not? He does end up his long soliloquy with saying, yes, at some point, he definitely does see himself marrying her. So, at any rate, there's that. And so the goal is for them to end with wedding bells. So, child, at some point, Tasia, he's going to ask you, honey. So your last name maybe won't be Burrows if you accept. And so when they go back over, he asks her, you know, would you be willing to change your last name? And she's like, oh, maybe. We'll talk about it. Code words for yes, Nick. Yes, she wants to get married. She just kind of wants you to hurry up with that ring. Okay. back to the gang. They're all riding bikes, child. Mira's still struggling, but the group is getting along. Like I said, the scenery is absolutely stunning. There's a moment that Jordan and Jasmine have together where Jasmine's kind of struggling a little bit with her bike, or Jordan, I'm sorry, is struggling with her bike, and Jasmine is giving her a mothering moment, telling her kind of what to do. And Jordan says this is the Jasmine she misses, the friend that used to be. She's glad that Silas isn't there, So, I mean, to me, then that really indicates, which doesn't take a rocket science, but her issues with Jasmine were basically that, she's married now. Silas, when he was there last season, we saw it, certainly requires a heaping amount of her attention. I mean, but that's her husband. She's not your single girlfriend anymore that can go run with you and go up the street with you and hang out with you till 3, 4 in the morning. It doesn't work that way when you're married. So, but they got a nice moment together, and child, we'll just let it be there, honey. So, at this point, back at the house, we have Bria and Simon and Nick and Donald that are getting ready to get in the car to join the gang for brunch. And so they the ones that are riding bikes, wrap it up, and they come to this place. Nick and Tasia are there first to get the reservation started for the 13 of them. And they're there, and they're all eating whatever. And you see Natalie kind of mouth to Tasia that we need to talk. And you can hear Tasia on her breath say, honey, I'm leaving. So anyway, Miss Natalie has to get up, go over there to Miss Tasia and say, can I talk to you? Can I pull you, to go talk? Child, first of all, did y'all see the way that she was petting Miss Tasia on her hair? Yeah, we did not like that. But basically, she decides to go over and tell Tasia, I need to talk to you. And Tasia's like, about what? And she was like, I just want to give you a heads up of what's been going on, in the house. And she was like, I'm not interested. It's fine. Actually, I'm leaving. So she paid her dust. Basically seeing her sitting right on back over there by a mirror, looking crazy. No, ma'am. What you're not going to do, she's getting ready to go, catch her flight, and you're not about to drop a bomb on me, and I'm about to leave my man, and you causing all this ascension stuff. She's like, it ain't even that serious, honey. I'm leaving. Mission not accomplished, boo. Phone carrying, mission denied. She said, no, ma'am. So you see Nick looking kind of annoyed. And when Natalie sat down, she did tell Amir she didn't want to talk. Good to me. Good to me. Good to me. So then immediately she's worried that Nick's going to be upset with her. And he should be. But anyway. So Donald and Tasia have to be at the airport. So then at this point, Nick, Preston take Donald and Tasia to the airport. So guys, again, they are dropping off Tasia and Donald at the airport. The other back at the house after Donald and Tasia have been taken to the airport. You have Preston and Nick at the house waiting for the group to get back. Nick is all spun up, y'all, because he has now gotten wind from Natalie that what the girls wanted to talk to Tasia about was that he got handsy with them. And he's telling Preston, I understand, I had a conversation with Jordan and Summer. But for these three to be saying that, he's like, I just don't understand it unless they're just trying to undermine my relationship and don't want to see me happy. He's really upset. And y'all, the showdown begins, honey. So basically, they get back and they come in and Simon comes up to him to apologize, and he's like, it's all good, whatever, I appreciate you apologizing. And then, he's like, man, if you ever want to talk, he's like, oh, no, we're good. It's not you I want to talk to. It's your girlfriend. Because apparently I'm too handsy with her, or that's what she's saying. Touche? So the first one Mr. Nick confronts is Noelle, and he says that he knows that she wants to be included, but calling him handsy with her is wild. And Noelle was like, it wasn't that serious to her as far as the conversation, and that, it wasn't like she was saying, oh my goodness, this man is making me feel uncomfortable. She was like, yes, I was around for the conversation, but I did not accuse you of making me feel uncomfortable. That wasn't me. So he says, okay. He stood corrected. Child, then he wanted some Shanice and some Bria. So Noelle goes up and she's mad because she's like, you know what? Natalie needs to be in this conversation. And I agree. She was like, look, when we're having girl talk, that's where it's supposed to stay, within the girl group. We don't go out and share what we're talking about. So she's really upset that Miss Natalie thought that it was good to take it to Tasia. Okay. So she goes and tells Shanice, honey, she has been summoned to come downstairs. Of course, she's in the bathroom, child, as I told you. Martha's Vineyard folks, they get their bathroom time in. But, anywho, so there's that. And then she also tells Bria, who's also in the bathroom, but they're both going to be on their way down. So Noelle goes to get them, lets them know. Shanice comes down. But then before that, there was a little thing where Noelle said, plus, if he's not feeling guilty, why is he so mad? Now, sis, I rock with you on some things, not on that. Because anytime somebody accuses you of something, and like he said out of his lips, he had spoken to Jordan and Summer on it because, with those two, he admits maybe things could have gotten a little flirty, handsy, whatever you want to call it. But with those three, he just wasn't feeling it. So yeah, I would be mad if someone falsely accused me of something, particularly if said group was going to take that to my significant other and try to play me like that. So yeah. So anyway, then Shanice comes down and he asks her the same thing. Does she think he gets handsy with her? And she's like, nah, I wouldn't say that you get handsy with me. So he was like, okay. But she's like, but you do sometimes. Your eyes have been wandering. And she's like, everybody in confessional said that Nick has wandering eyes. Child, they pan to this girl because Shanice don't wear no clothes. But she is scantily clad with a bikini on, bikini top pulled down, dancing right beside the man. Then you see her turn around twerking. The man's gonna look. I think, and with all that she was doing, you was trying to get him to look. These girls are being a little crazy. At any rate, so he's like, okay. And then she's like, well, she's in confessional saying, well, he's mad because he got embarrassed because, he's got a girlfriend and he got caught up. He needs to be single. Ladies, what kind of... I am so confused. Why does he need to be single? A man is going to look. He hasn't done anything that, to me, seems worthy of not being able to be someone's boyfriend. Child, if I'm wrong, y'all put it in the comments because I'm confused here. I was really confused. Okay, so then, Shanice admits not. He's like, so he asked her, clarify, so eyes are handsy? And she was like, no, you've never touched me. Girl. So anyway, she says, then Noelle jumps in and says, look, it was never that serious that we were going to bring it to Tasia. And so Preston wants to know, okay, who then thought it was needed to be brought to Tasia? None other than good old Natalie that I am such a fan of. She admits it was her. And she's like, Tasia's my friend. And I felt like she should know what was going on. All right. So here comes Jordan, and then she jumps in saying, well, there has been moments where I've been like, all right, fall back, you're doing too much. And then they pan to his times with her. But yet again, y'all, and put it in the comments because I'm confused. You see one point that they're sitting on the couch and he kind of grabs her shoulder playing with her. Okay, and she's like, no, get off me, get off me, get off me. Then another time where she's got the mic and he reaches for her and the girl literally draws back to hit him. Nah, back up off me, back up off me. Again, unless it's a bad edit, I don't know what they're talking about. He's admitted that, maybe with Jordan and Summer, they got a little far. But in the clip that I saw, it seemed like they were playing. Correct me, y'all. Actualizers, newcomers, let's chat about it. Put it in the comments. And so then basically from there, Alex interjects that, they rag on Nick all the time and no one has the decency to come to him and say, hey, I have a problem with this. And that's not fair. And I agree. If this is supposed to be a group of friends, if he does something that you feel like is crossing the line or it's overstepping the bounds of friendship or even personal space, why wouldn't you tell him? Why would it be a sidebar conversation and then not only sidebar, you girls sat there and heard her say she was going to bring it to Tasia and y'all didn't say, no, don't do it. Ciao. So now Bria's joined the group and she's like, I've never talked about Nick. And he said, apparently you have. Apparently I'm handsy with you. And she was like, I didn't say that. And they panned to her saying that she was pretty sure if someone was down to get down with him, that he would do it. And in the state, in his state of like when he's drinking, that he would get down with somebody. So that's her saying that, he had potential to cheat. So she definitely believes that there's something up with him, but okay. So Nick is like, at this point, I just want to know, how are all y'all confused? And Bria admits that he does get loose, but she never said the word handsy. And Preston asks, what does loose means in the context that you're saying it? And she's like, I don't know, maybe flirty. So Nick calls her out on the word now. So we're using a new word. Now I'm flirty. So it goes from handsies to eyes to flirty. So he's just making sure he's duly noting all that the ladies are saying. And she's like, he was like, so I've been flirting with you. She was like, yes, you have. Yes, you have. And she's like, on the boat day. Okay, y'all. They pan back to the boat day. Again, you see Bria. She is twerking. And he's like, get it, Bria, get it, Bria, get it, Bria. Yeah. You are throwing that A. Okay. So he said that. Back in the car when they're leaving, she's like, I am redonkulous. And everybody knows that the term donk comes from none other than Miss Phaedra Parks when she would talk about donkey beauties. And that's short for donkey. A donkey is a nice round firm butt. And he tells her that she don't have a donk though. Then he says, though, he does say, hey, it's me and you this summer for real, for real. And you can see the rest of the friends in the car kind of looking at each other like. And she was like, okay, will you take me to Nobu? And he's like, of course, yeah, of course I'll take you to Nobu. Okay, that was a flirty moment. All right, Bria, you get that one. Because he was saying, it's me and you this summer for real. I don't know, it was the way he said it because there were some looks kind of like, that's a bit much. So, okay, we'll give you that. He had a flirty moment with her. But she said, even with that, I wasn't something I was going to take to Tasia. And she was like, everybody gets a little loose. And she's like, it happens, of course, when you drink. And she says that she tries to say just like Shanice. And he's like, nope, leave her out of that. I'm not talking. I've already talked to Shanice. This is about you. I'm talking to you. Then she's with, Bria, honey. Watch your tone. Watch your tone. And he's like, I'm mad. And she was like, she starts walking away. And he's just like, you can call out my character or whatever. And she's just basically like, she's not going to let him attack her. And then it's basically, she's like, he's trying to express his frustration. She's like, let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Child, that's how the scene ends. But I will say, I feel like the girls were wrong. Now, I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. So put it in the comments. And y'all, I'm telling you, Natalie has to go. I am so not feeling her. And Amir, he's just as silly. I'm very turned off by her. I think she wanted her moment, and Miss Tasia told her, no, ma'am, you will not get it with me. She seems like she's working to get her a permanent spot on that show, but she's not likable, and I need her to be one and done too. I mean, Amir, if that's who you want to date, boo, go ahead, but we are totally not feeling her over here. I also feel like, you know, the thing with Simon. I think Bria is a little hard on Simon, but, you know, I did understand with the nature behind what this party's theme was. Yeah, he should act like he had more sense. So I get it. Overall, I thought it was a pretty decent episode, guys. I think next week is going to be the finale, and then we're going to have a reunion. So we're going to keep tuning in. Like I said, I am definitely going to recap Real Housewives of New Jersey as well. That will be tomorrow. So make sure you come back and check that out. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I mentioned that I have a very, very good interview coming your way on one of the family members that was featured in the documentary Silver Dollar Road. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be really exciting. I can't wait to drop that for you guys. And again, do me a favor. If you like the video, please hit the like button. I'm going to need you to also go ahead and hit subscribe. Then why not go on and hit the notification bell so whenever I drop this good content, you're going to be the first ones to see it and or go live. Either way, you guys can come over and see it first. And then once we've done all that, I have one more request. If you would just share it, guys. We're still trying to get to our goal of 5,000 subscribers. I know we're going to get there. I know we will, because you guys are so faithful and you have been wonderful in helping us grow, and we continue to grow, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much again for watching, and come back tomorrow, because I got a lot to say about Real Housewives of New Jersey. All right, guys, you have a good one. Bye.